thinks like they're talking
And
about, even though
it's mostly accurate, honestly, sometimes.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. But no, I also watched foosball. He and just yeah,
Yeah,
he would be
they're great for sure. I think he's definitely a leader in one of the I don't know, I think there's definitely a make baseball fun again movement to try to I don't know, I think the youth just like when we were kids that baseball was like our main sport. Like that's what we love to watch. We love to watch the Twins, but I feel like the youth growing up I don't know, they're just not into baseball as the past generations have been, so they have to find a way to kind of make it fun again. And I think people like John Boy are a good face to have
yeah.
that.
Do you know what happened to baseball?
What do you think happened?
Two things. I think that the attention span of kids is getting lower, and I think lacrosse happened. At least where we're from. So many people would rather play lacrosse than baseball just because it's so much so much more high paced and stuff. You know.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I think yeah, I don't know. I think like it's the same with like when earlier in the season there was an incident where Tatis hit the home run on the 3-0 pitch and the opposing manager got mad at him and they tried to throw at him. Like why can't you bat flip or why can't you like I don't know, the unwritten rules of baseball just make it kind of like an old man sport.
Yeah, but there's something comforting about that. I think it just kind of gives me a comfort. Like watching baseball, just like sitting down and watching a baseball game is just like a
In
very
the summer, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I don't know. I think when I'm older, I think I'm definitely going to be watching like just like paying attention to like the Twins like super like in depthly or like just watching every game or just because I feel like that's something you can really get into.
Yeah, definitely. I love watching baseball. I 100% get why it's one of the harder sports to watch, but I think it's just because people don't understand like the intricacies of just the mental battle going on between the batter and the pitcher at the plate. I think there's a lot of things that go into it that people just don't realize.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how like people are just so easy to say like, oh yeah, baseball is such an easy sport, and then baseball like is boring. But then like if they were to actually play in a baseball game, I think that their whole perspective would just completely flip.
It is a really tough game. Yeah.
So you see, yeah, I mean, you saw one of the best athletes of all time try to go step in and play baseball with the White Sox and Michael Jordan, and you know that really showed that it's not the easiest sport. You can't just pick up baseball and just be successful automatically.
Yeah, I think there's a thing to say when like one of the if not the greatest baseball player of all time and Mike Trout. I think it's cool when you fail when like even the best players fail at least 3 times out of 10. Like if you're gonna fail 3 times out of 10 at the plate, it takes a lot of courage to go up there and get the hit in the clutch spot.
Wait, fail seven
Or
out of
fail 7 out of the
yeah,
10
even
times. Yeah, you're only gonna like that's. I think that's pretty cool. How you're only gonna. It's extremely hard to succeed in a game. So I think failing upon failing is very good for your character.
oh for sure. What do you think is going to need to happen to make baseball fun again, like you're talking about, or make it more of a mainstream sport? Because I feel like it's always going to be there, and I feel like it's just kind of in a low patch right now. But I think that it's just tied to our country, and I think I think it'll come back.
Yeah, so I think first of all in the Central American companies or countries and the South American countries, it's a ginormous right behind soccer. It's probably the second most popular sport. Um, you see a lot of those Central American players are really popular where they're from and stuff like that. And yeah, I think baseball right now, I think players like Tatis and Trout are great. I think those highlights come on to like Bleacher Report and ESPN when people are bat flipping and hitting bombs. So I think it's a good thing that more players are hitting home runs like that, and I think they need more excitement like that. Like I think you should be able to celebrate and stuff because I think that is what kids like. They like to see a huge bat flip and just a bomb launched out to left field. Like who doesn't like to see that? So I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't know what that would entail because pitching is the greatest it's ever been. Trying to hit some of those pitchers is incredible. So I think you have to relax on the celebrations, relax a little on the unwritten rules, and kind of just let them play. And I think once the health concerns come, because I'm not gonna lie, I think football as a sport will probably be gone in the next 20 to 30 years, just due to health issues with like the CTE stuff starting to pop up is extremely scary because
Mhm.
if your sports expected career span is 2 to 3 years, that's it says something because a lot of those players are coming out of the league with CTE and different traumatic injuries to different parts of their body, mostly their head. I don't think that's going to be able to last. I don't know.
I could definitely see that happening, and then you have all those great athletes that instead of playing football, they might start playing baseball again,
Yeah,
which might be
you definitely see I think I thought I read somewhere that this is one of the lower youth football enrollment rates ever because
Mhm.
injuries are starting to become more prevalent.
Yeah, so that's how it's gonna end. Kids are just gonna stop playing.
Yeah.
And then so there, yeah. Also, I think it just takes like one or two big stars in the MLB. I think that's all it really would take to start bringing it up. And not like Mike Trout, like he's a phenomenal player, but he doesn't really have like a personality. You need like a guy with a person like you need someone with a huge personality.
Yeah, and I think a guy that did that actually a couple years ago when the Cubs won the World Series was Javi Baez. He kind of had that really fun personality, and it kind of that Cubs World Series was
Mhm.
really good for viewership. There was a lot of people watching that because LeBron got into it. He started cheering for the Cleveland Indians, and D Wade started cheering for the Cubs, and it was stuff. It was just stuff like that.
LeBron's always
Yeah.
always cheering for the team in the world because wasn't he cheering for the Dodgers this year?
Yep. He was going for the Dodgers.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think definitely the sports is not going to be the same in 20 years as it is right now. I
No.
think we're going to see a lot of changes, and it's kind of weird to think about, but just like I definitely can see it happening.
Yeah, I think eventually right now obviously football has taken over the American sports heavily. I think everyone's mostly favorite sport to watch is football. Like for a good reason. It's amazing sport to watch, but I think maybe in the future when football becomes a little less prevalent due to injuries, I think the NBA will probably take over the viewership.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And now we're starting to get a lot of social media presence coming into the NBA because before you had these huge social media characters all over social media when they were in high school or middle school, and now they're all starting to get into the NBA. So now I feel like this is when it's finally catching up, and now the NBA is going to be huge.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think generally players like Steph Curry, I and Stephon Marbury too. I think he was a big influencer in bringing basketball over to China and Asia
Mhm.
as a whole. So I think a lot of the Asian countries are more into basketball than they've ever been. You see like players like Luka and Kristaps with Slovenia and Lithuania, and Spain has always been huge on basketball. I think it's becoming a more worldwide sport, and I think that's why basketball keeps growing.
Yeah, because it's such an easy sport to play. You don't need to be outside. You don't need a certain like climate to play it. You just need a hoop, and you can even be outdoors. You can be anywhere. It's cheap. You just need a hoop and a ball.
I think
And I
that's a
feel
huge thing. It's definitely one of those sports. It's really cheap to play, and it's one of those things that I think everyone can do. Like grown men can go play pickup basketball. They've never played it before.
well, I mean,
They they can play, but I mean
yeah,
it's one of those sports that's just fun to even shoot around.
for sure. Yeah, and you don't need anyone. You can just go shoot baskets by yourself. You don't need to have someone like to play catch with because you can literally just do it just by yourself, and that's how you can get better. So yeah, I definitely could see in the next few. I could just see basketball taking over the sports scene over football. But
Yeah, for sure.
a huge social media thing for basketball has been the Ball family in the last couple of